Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Kim Pagano Show, the brighter side of life and business. And of course, we are so grateful that you have tuned in. I know you have lots of opportunities and lots of shows to listen to, but I'm so glad that you've tuned in here. I hope that you've had an incredible week. And of course, I always start my show with something uplifting. And today's another day, another day. But what is that day? How are you going to use it? How are you going to walk through it? And are you going to be thankful for it? So when I kind of remind you of every single day that you are given, it's a gift in our life, and I hope that you're using them wisely. I am so excited to bring on our first guest, and of course, we've known each other for a little bit, and I am just so excited to have her here. I think she can help so many people, which I'm sure she's already done in her life. And I heard a little bit of her story about helping her parents way back, and that is truly her passion. And again, I want to remind you to follow us through our social and to download our podcast. And that is The Kim Pagano Show on pretty much every platform out there. And of course, if you're not getting our newsletter, definitely you can send us a text or call us at 805 419 0008 and just put in their newsletter. And of course, let's bring our first guest on, Liat Cohen. Welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me, Kim.
Yeah, I'm so excited to learn more about you and really to share you. I know so many people that have been going through so many things, and just to have somebody by their side that is going to be kind of like their backbone. I think you are like more like a backbone for people. I'm excited to have you as my backbone. So, and it's funny, we talked briefly and you were saying like I help people sign contracts confidently, right? And that's the one thing, like you kind of go, okay, let me make sure. And is that something that you also do too?
Yes, absolutely. I've done a lot of contract work in the 33 years that I've been an attorney. There's probably no contract I haven't seen or drafted.
There you,
So I try to do that and keep my clients out of trouble.
there you go. I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and, of course, how you got started.
I got started when I was about 9 years old and I decided to be an attorney. And it was because my parents immigrated to this country and didn't know the language. So at a very early age, I learned the language more quickly, as did my sisters. And I was the one designated to read everything that they wanted to sign. And sometimes they signed stuff without me reading it and got into trouble. So very early on, I wanted to help people stay out of that kind of trouble. And so I decided I wanted to be an attorney.
Wow, at 9 years old. I mean, I know that I wanted to do hair at, 16, but wow, 9 years old, you were pretty insightful. And the fact that you helped your parents through so many things, I mean, they were so grateful for you to be a part of their life and to be able to be right in charge of their life. How funny is that? I love that. I know that you're going to be on a ton of times, and I'm so excited. And we're going to handle different things. And in fact, I would even love to ask our listeners if there's something that they want to hear from you too, right? Because so many people are going through different things in their life. This is a kind of a crazy time right now in our world. And there's so many unfinished questions, and just to have somebody in our ballpark would be amazing. And so, first of all, I'd love you to give out your phone number and your website so our listeners can know how to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. My phone number is 818-579-9996. And my website is www.liatlaw.net. And Liat Law is my name and the word law, LIATLAW.net.
There you go. And I know today we're going to start off with employment laws, and those are tricky. I mean, things have changed so much. And, a lot of times I remember, we're talking years ago, people would be like, that's it. I'm done with you. You can't do that anymore. It's like, whoa, have you written me up? Have you, right? I mean, have you done your paperwork? And people, that's where people get into so much trouble. So I'm excited to talk about this and really learn. I feel like, radio is like my school on air. So I love to learn from everybody, and especially from you. So let's start there. Are you okay with that?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great. So talk to us, what comes under the umbrella of employment law?
Employment law is a large umbrella, and it includes everything from the first part where you're hiring, recruiting, applications, and doing background checks. It includes wage and hour laws. It includes discrimination and harassment and wrongful termination based on the protected class. It includes family leave laws, sick days, vacation days, paid time off days, obviously wrongful termination claims when somebody is disgruntled and they go to an attorney to file a claim, and employer policies and procedures, which are usually found in the employee handbook.
Wow.
That's generally the umbrella.
And what kind of employment law do you practice?
I handle a lot of employment law for business owners.
Okay.
So I've pivoted over the years from representing employees when I first started out to representing employers now in the last probably 15 years or so. So half and half. And what gives me the edge is that I have represented employees. I know what their law firms are thinking, and I know what to do to protect my clients.
Oh, I love that. So you've been on both sides,
Exactly.
which is so
Exactly.
smart. Like you kind of know what's coming, and so you can protect the employer. I love that. I love that. Have you ever represented employees? Like, talk to us about that experience, which you said you have.
Yes, I started out representing employees, and it was a challenge because you really have to look at the case objectively, where when someone gets terminated, it's a very stressful experience.
Right.
And to lose your job, especially when someone tells you you're fired,
Mm.
is very stressful. So
Right.
to look at the case objectively is difficult. But for example, I had a case where a young girl was at her first job at a call center and she was sexually harassed by her boss. And it was horrible for her. Her mom had to come pick her up one day when she ran out of the office. It was just a horrible experience. And we wound up taking that case all the way to trial because they kept denying that he was her supervisor. They denied that he even worked there. They denied that anything happened, but the judge didn't buy it. And we won a very good verdict for her. Very good
Wow.
verdict.
That's great. Good job. But you prefer working for employers, right? Because they already have a base. I'm gonna imagine why, okay? But I want to hear why you think that would be, it's probably easier.
Well, I feel that 90% of wrongful termination cases happen because somebody is disgruntled at how they were terminated. So something happened either with HR or their supervisor that made them feel little or belittled or angry. And the way the termination was handled, they ran to an attorney in order to file a wrongful termination lawsuit, whether they had one or not. And also, wage and hour claims are very popular right now. So, what I want to do is prevent employers from making those mistakes, terminate correctly, and then not have to deal with disgruntled former employees.
Wow. And do you work with HRs?
I work a lot with HRs. I work a lot with presidents of the companies directly.
Mhm.
I have clients that I've had for over 20 years in the business. I've had clients that are sole business proprietors and maybe have one employee or two employees,
Okay.
up to 500 employees, depending on what kind of company it is.
Wow. What and I want to say not a tip, okay, for employers right now. And I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask you the answer, okay? is what could they do so that they don't end up with those? Is there anything?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
First of all, not to get too legal about it, but
Sure.
employment in California is at will, which technically means that you can terminate somebody without a reason or with a reason, and they can quit with a reason or without a reason. A lot of employers think they have to have cause, good cause to terminate an employee. So they start writing them up or they start giving them negative evaluations, where the truth is that you can terminate an employee just because it's not a good fit. And I always recommend that that's what my clients say when they terminate someone. It's not a good fit.
That makes so much sense. I was not thinking that. So I'm not going to read your mind anymore. So I'm going to hire you to help me. So I love that. Yeah. And so and as far as, businesses, what are some of the things that they can do to really be organized? Obviously, have an HR, compliance and to do all that because I think that is part of like, dotting your dots and crossing your T's, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And it starts with the application. It
Mhm.
has to ask questions that are legally allowable. And California is very strict and very pro employees. So you start with your application, your interview, your background check if you decide that's the way to go for your business. And then it continues forward to the onboarding, which the most important document I would probably say is the employee handbook. And the employee handbook, because of California laws, needs to be updated yearly because of changes in California laws. Even sick days are different if you're talking about Los Angeles. In the city of Los Angeles versus a city of Santa Monica versus a city of Long Beach, the allowable sick days are different. So you really have to keep up on the laws or have an attorney do that for you.
Wow. What is one thing that's changed over the years that people would not even think about?
The allowable times for time off. So most people are aware of the Family Medical Leave Act, but that's really for people who have more than 50 employees. And then they are supposed to give them at least 96 days off a year without pay. They don't have to pay, but it still requires time off, but it's unpaid time off. The most recent thing that came into play is the California Leave Act, which also is unpaid time off, but is even more inclusive than the federal laws. So employers have to keep up on the laws.
A lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And do a lot of people have HRs? When do you think that somebody should hire an HR as opposed to, you know, handling it themselves?
Well, that's a good question. And that's a question that every business owner has to answer for themselves. But if you're a business owner with more than 20 employees, you should have either an HR person or someone like me, an HR attorney that you can go to with questions. Even if they're daily questions that you think are stupid, there's
Right.
no such thing as a stupid question.
I like how you said that. So that, yeah, because we all have questions, and sometimes it's that one time we didn't ask, and it's like, you ask everything else. Why didn't you ask this? Right? I'm sure you've said that to a lot of people, right?
I have, and I pride myself on the fact that I give free consultations. And so if I can help somebody on the phone solve a problem in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, then I don't charge for that. If I
Wow.
have to go research something and
Right.
give an opinion letter and draft documents, that's a different story. But a lot of people get helped right away because I know the answers and I know the law.
That's beautiful. Again, for anybody that's just tuning in with us, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you here. First of all, Liat Cohen, and of course, give out your phone number again. I know that we're going to get so many people calling you. I'm telling you, it's exciting to have you.
Sure, it's not a problem. My phone number is 818 579-9996. And if for some reason you're calling on a weekend, I will get the message when you leave a message.
Okay.
And my website, which also you can contact me through my website, is www.liatlaw.net. And that's my name, Liatlaw.net.
There you go. And of course, she tells me how to say it. Okay, Liat, like fiat. So we'll like get our listeners thinking that way too.
Okay.
Yeah. So, again, is there, so how often are they allowed to change the laws for like employers and employees? I mean, is there like you just think you got it handled and then all of a sudden it's changing again? Is there like a law to that or is it just random?
No, it's how fast the government works in California. And I can tell you that every year there's dozens of new laws. They usually talk about them on the news, but there's at least five or six good, important laws that an HR person or an employment attorney has to keep abreast and keep looking at every year.
Right. Wow, that's so important. So, okay, talk to us about, I know we're going to be talking about them on another time, but just kind of to get people to know who you are and what all the things you do. Can you share that?
Sure. Right now, I am concentrating on business law and
Okay.
employment law for my clients. Business law meaning basically any contract, vendor agreements, leases, partnership agreements, LLCs, corporations, anything related to operating a business. And that's why it includes employment law, because employment law very much relates to operating a business. And because I did do that stint in an estate planning firm, I handle trust litigation,
Wow.
which basically is whenever someone passes away, usually a parent, the kids start suing each other. And that's trust litigation or probate or estate litigation. It comes
I,
under the same umbrella.
that is beyond me, I have to tell you, and I've seen it so much lately that it's like I don't know. It's just beyond me. You think that that if your parents or whatever leaves it in their will the way they want it, wouldn't you think that's the way they want it? And yet they contest it.
Yeah, there's a saying that if the kids didn't get along while the parents were alive, they're not going to get along after the parents are gone.
Wow.
And there's seems to be always one sibling that thinks that they're getting the short end of the stick. And
Oh,
they go see an attorney and they file a lawsuit.
oh my gosh. Isn't that wow? So it's just a given. That's just the way it, yeah.
Unfortunately, it happens with very small estates and estates worth multi-million dollars because if you feel that you're getting the short end of things, you're going to go sue because you have basically nothing to lose.
Wow, that's crazy. And you mentioned LLCs. I'm excited to talk to you about those too. So where are you at with that? And
LLCs are when somebody wants to form their company or their business into a more formal arrangement. So an LLC is a limited liability corporation or company versus a corporation, which is an Inc., or incorporated. There's different ways to form companies. My recommendation is for new businesses not to worry about what the form of the company is before they get off the ground. Once they're actually in business for 18 months to 2 years, then they can form an LLC or a corporation. But the most important thing to do when you're starting a business is make sure that you're protected with good insurance.
oh, that's a flip. Okay, I love that. Okay, so insurance, making sure that you have liability, making sure that you have
Absolutely.
all of that.
Ex- Exactly, correct. That you have general liability insurance, that you have business protection or interruption insurance, that if you have employees, you want to have EPL, employment liability insurance. Insurance, insurance, insurance. You can never have too much insurance. And you're better off spending money on that than on incorporating, especially if you don't know yet how long your business will take off, how long it'll be before it takes off, and how successful it's going to be 2 years down the road. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses close within the first 18 months.
And here you spent all that money on that. Yeah.
Exactly.
And sometimes you do that, like you said, before you even get insurance and you run into a problem. Now you have no insurance, but you have an LLC, right?
Right.
Well,
Which
yeah.
doesn't, which a lot of in employment law, employees disregard the corporate status or the LLC and sue the president of the company individually or the owner of the company individually, thereby trying to get around the corporate protections that you're trying to get when you form an LLC or a corporation.
Wow. Liat, this has been so interesting and so much fun to have you on our show. Again, can you give out your phone number and your website? And I can't wait to have you back again. And I can't wait to have you at my mixer. And I'm already thinking after talking to you, like who all the people that I'm going to be connecting you with right now. And I love that you trusted us here on the Kim Pagano Show.
Well, I've had a lot of fun. My phone number is 818-579-9996, and my website is www.liatlaw.net. And that's LIATLAW.net. And I'm easily Googled anywhere. Liat Cohen, attorney, Los Angeles.
I love
You'll find me.
it. Liat Law. I think that should just say it all right there. Liat Law. So
That's what it says on my license plate.
I love, oh, there you go. I love it. So again, please share our show with everyone. Download our podcast. Can't wait to have you back. Can't wait to share you with everybody. And this just really opened up my eyes about so many things, and it was so good. So again, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, Kim.
You got it. Take care.